Good morning, everyone. You know, it seems there was this man that was stranded on a desert island. He was stranded on there for about 10 years. So one day he's looking out over the ocean. He sees a small speck out there, and it's like, wow, man, it's like, that's too small for a ship. And it kept getting a little bit closer. It's not a boat or a raft either. So suddenly, out of the surf, out of the water, walks this just gorgeous young lady in a wetsuit and scuba gear. And she walks up to him, and they chit-chat for a little bit. And she asks him, how long has it been since you had a good cigar? And he says, it's been 10 years. She unzips her left sleeve, pulls out a dozen Cuban cigars, gives him one, lights it up. He goes, man, that is really, really great. So a little while, she goes, how long has it been since you had a sip of bourbon? He says, it's been 10 years. She unzips her waterproof sleeve on the right side, pulls out a flask of bourbon, gives him a drink. She says, man, this is really, really good. So then she starts unzipping the front of her wetsuit, and she asks him, how long has it been since you played around? And she goes, oh my God, you don't have a set of golf clubs in there, do you? Thank you for laughing. I do appreciate that. That's pretty good. You're just relieved. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Most of us remember those days. Anyways, that's another story. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Welcome to our 40th straight NCRO quarterly breakfast meeting. Welcome. I think I had about 160 people registered for this event, and I think we got about another 50 or so registered for the webinar. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for supporting the NCRO. Let's see, where are we at? My name's Mike Cipineri. I almost forgot my name. My name's Mike Cipineri. I'm the MC for today. How was your breakfast? Once again, thank you to the people of San Marino Club for hosting us. This is kind of our home base, has been for a long time. And thank you very much to the wait staff for their courteous and efficient service. Appreciate that very much. Let me just quickly go over a few things, and then I'll go through the agenda. I mentioned that this is our 40th quarterly meeting. This year, we're going to a 3 per year. Oops. I think that's called triannual. So this is the first one. This is our first meeting this year and the first of the triannual. So February, I think our next meeting is in May, and then our third meeting will be in October. We're going to try that and see how that works out. A couple other things. We have a insurance committee who puts on our seminars. They have a seminar coming up on May 8th. At the Bloomfield Hills Library. I want to mention one important feature about that. It's free. No cost to you. So let me mention that again. It's free. Let's see. Please continue to visit our webinar, ncro.org. Our webmaster, Rick Golpe, and his team continue to try to keep information on there fresh and relevant to not only Chrysler retirees, but all seniors. So please continue to visit that for some good information. Remember, as an NCRO member, when you pay your dues, you automatically become a member of the NRLN. You may have seen that they send action alerts out periodically. Please consider responding to those action alerts because that's how our Congress people hear about us, hear from us. So please consider that. Please consider supporting our retiree-friendly dealers. They advertise on our website. They are a source of revenue for us, and it is one way that we can help to keep Chrysler healthy. So please support them. And thank you to all of you for paying your 2018 dues. You paid it very promptly. I appreciate that very much. If you do have any issues with dues or so, please see me after the meeting and we can maybe do something about that. However, for those people that have not paid promptly and responded promptly, another dues notice will be going out, I think, within a week. Nobody here should be receiving that dues notice because you've already paid. But if you do, if you already paid, just disregard that, please. And the last thing, thank you not only for paying your dues, but also for contributing to our Contingency Action Fund, the CAF. That is, as you recall, a voluntary contribution that goes towards things that we may have to use in the future for our organization. So thank you for continuing to support the CAF. Okay, with that, let me just go through the agenda real quick. Let's see. From right after me, oh, okay. All right, there we go. Right after me, Jay Kuhnie, our president, will bring us up to date on some NCRO news and information. He'll be followed by our keynote speaker today, Diana Moak, and her presentation is estate planning made easy. We'll follow that up with a question and answer period. So we should have you out of here by about 12 o'clock noon or so. But if you want to hang around about 15 minutes after that, we have a WageWorks and Benefit Connect presentation that's being put on by our insurance committee. So with that, Jay Kuhnie.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody here, and also good morning to everybody in the webinar. So I'm going to check one thing. Am I red forward or right, left? Perfect. Right, left. Welcome. Welcome. It's a good day. Somebody came in and said that it was raining, and I said, yeah, I know it's raining. It's been crazy raining, but that's a lot better than having that. You know how much snow we'd have on the ground if that was cold? That would be, it'd be awful. So I just want to give you a quick update on a few things. Right hand, let's see if that goes right. Oh, it's going down. Why isn't it? That doesn't make, oh, there it goes. Okay, perfect. I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, Mike talked to you about triennial meetings. I'm going to give you the exact dates. May 15th and October 17th is the next one. Talk about a little about the NRLN fly-in, and going to talk about FCA and our relationships. I want to just give you a little bit update on that. And then two more issues, pension overpayment issue. I want to talk to you about what looks like FCA has decided. And then the pension and annuity action, which I want to talk about because we obviously sent out a note to everybody a couple of days ago. And we did that for a reason. So hope you think we do everything for a reason, but that's right. Again, as a reminder, and I will say this, and nobody knows I'm going to say this, so I'm just going to pop it. We only have 2 more this year. If you don't like that we've gone to 3 instead of 4, let us know. We did it for a couple of reasons, and we think it makes a lot of sense. But if you don't like that and you think we should be back to 4, I'm certainly open to that conversation, and we can think more about that. But at the moment, we went to 3. Next one again, May 15th. That is on a Tuesday. Remember, Tuesday, not Wednesday, because Wednesday is Ramadan, starting of Ramadan, and we try to acknowledge all religious holidays and make sure we don't upset people. So we schedule it on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Then the next one is October 17th, and along with that, October 17th, we'll have some more issues in terms of, because that's beginning of Medicare sign up and whatever. So we'll talk more about that. So just a heads up. Washington coming up again. That's kind of the trip that is like a Chinese water torture. I don't even know how to say this. You see our government in action on television, right? You have no idea what's really going on behind all that. It's just crazy, but we need to keep doing it. And a lot of people think, oh, it's a waste of time and whatever. It's not a waste of time at all, because we need to keep in front of our representatives with senior and retiree issues, and it's very important for us to do that. So we will continue with the NRLN back on March the 12th and 13th. And four people we have a smaller group going this year. It must be a lot of other things we got involved in, but there's 4 of us going, and we will again meet with our representatives and try to argue out the things that they need to be doing for us as seniors, focus on risks and mergers and acquisitions. That's still something that we think is important to us. Protecting retiree benefits in bankruptcy, again, we think it's important. Prescription drugs, healthcare, those are all things that we think are important. And then we being the NCRO, not the NRLN part of it, but we will then also talk to our representatives about annuity actions and things that we think need to be done or should be done in terms of protecting retirees and annuity actions. We'll talk a little more about that as I get into this. FCA relationship. I've said here on several occasions that our relationship with FCA is continuing to get better. And I really do believe that. We had a transition from Mike Keegan to Barb Pilarski. And I actually had a meeting, just Barb and I had a meeting on January 22nd to just between the two of us to talk about NCRO, FCA, and those issues. And I had a very good, it was a very good meeting, and I had a very good feeling from her in terms of her desire to meet with us and to continue that kind of relationship that we have with Mike. Judgment is out still. A couple of things we'll talk about more in the next couple of issues that we're going to talk about. I heard her, and I think that she's honestly wants to do that. But I think that there's an old saying that actions speak louder than words, because the world can't hear what you say. I don't know if that's, I learned that in church, little church song for a kid. I'm waiting for action, so stay tuned. Two current issues, pension overpayment and annuity actions with the Athene Annuity and Life Company. I want to talk a little about those, and I know there's probably some questions, and we'll talk about that as we get there. Pension overpayment. I put on this slide and I took it off. The first bullet I had was disappointed and frustrated. And that's kind of how I feel right now about this whole pension overpayment issue. On the 22nd of January, you got a kind of a quick notice from FCA in a meeting that we had, that they had sort of made a decision that said, you know, that they were going to go ahead and recover from retirees, but the implication I had, or really my feeling coming out of that meeting, was that they were going to extend it over a longer period of time to make it very reasonable for the retiree. At that meeting, it was just Barb and I said to her, you know, Barb, you don't have a history of this, but I told her why we don't believe that's the appropriate thing. We think that the recovery should not come from the retiree. We think the recovery should come from FCA, or more appropriately, we think it should be coming from their third-party organization that made the mistake. The problem with that is that's not how basically the rest of the world does it. In reality, I don't know of anybody at the moment that I've been told that doesn't collect from retirees. Even the federal government, the PBGC, if you actually had our pensions were with the PBGC and they found out there was an error in it, they actually would do the same thing. They just have a very, I would say, a pensioner-friendly way of recovering. So I told her we didn't like that and why we didn't. So I tried to give her an update and said, gee, I'd like to make sure we have a meeting on that. Well, then on February the 11th, we heard from some of the affected retirees that they've gotten letters, and we actually got one of the letters from someone received explaining the final decision. We've been working on this, so I said frustrating. We've been working on this since June 2000, not 2106, excuse me, it's 2016. The decision to recover the overpayment is, as I said, universally accepted, but we disagree with the rationale. So we requested a meeting, and we have since requested a meeting with them a couple of times. And I have another email probably going back to Barb again today to sit down and talk about it. And our position has been, in what I understand they've done, is I don't know if how many of you have been affected by it. Has anybody in the room been affected by the overpayment issue? Okay, well, in the original overpayment issue, they said, give me the lump sum back or give it to me over 18 months. And some of these have been, and I've gone back through and looked at the list of the individuals that have contacted us. The vast majority of these, more than 50% have been longer period of time than 18 months or 2 years. A lot of them have been 8 years that were overpaid, or even up to 15 years. So the original letters that people received said you're going to have to pay it back either a lump sum or over 18 months, and they would reduce the pension over 18 months to collect it. And we said, that's crazy. I mean, if you overpaid somebody 15 years and now you're going to try to get back over 18 months, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And the implication I had from Barb was that they were going to extend it and make it more actuarially accurate and more friendly to the retiree. And unfortunately, they only changed it from 18 months to 24 months. I haven't used the words, Barb, that's like giving sleeves out of a vest, but that's kind of what I want to say. So I'm trying to get another meeting where they're trying to argue this out again and say, wait a minute, this is not appropriate. You need to do something that makes it significantly more friendly to the retiree than you're making it. So I guess the more you hear, the more we know about that, we'll let you know. The other thing that I want to tell everybody that we're working on right now, and hopefully in the next couple of days, those who have received this new communication that says this is the final decision and this is what happens and this is what you owe over a period of time. It doesn't, we've seen two different letters. It doesn't, in the original letter, it does not say that there's an appeal process. It just says that if you have questions of what are called Benefits Connect, there is an appeal process. If you haven't already done this or whatever, we're going to send out a letter, email from me to all the people that we know about that. Here's the appeal. This is what we know. And we also have a templated letter that you can use, personalize it, use it or whatever to actually start the appeal process. And we encourage anybody to do that we want the appeal process started because that helps us as we go back in and argue. But you need to appeal that. If you get one of these letters, please appeal it. If you get new ones or something happens, please come up and let me know so we can get you in our system and so we can make sure we're communicating with you. So not the best of news, but hopefully we can make some movement on this. The next one, and I would dare say that probably no one in this room received the letter from Benefits Connect about the annuities. Did anybody? Not from the FCA, but actually from Benefit Connect about being transferred to a pension from the pension plan of FCA to being annuitized through Athene. We heard about it. Let's see if I can follow this without doing it. We heard about it I heard early about it at the 22nd meeting, was asked not to talk to anybody until we could have another meeting, which we actually had on the 11th, excuse me, on the 6th. The FCA transfers, this is what they've done. The FCA has transferred some pensions to Athene Annuity Life Company. This type of transfer is not unusual. It's been done for years and years and years, and companies like GM, Verizon, Motorola, TRW, and Sears have done pensions and pension transfers to annuities. It affected 16,395 out of 35,000 salary retirees. That seems like a lot, but they're vested to people that have left the company and whatever. The affected retirees include those with pensions that commenced prior to January 1st, 2017. So it's people that have at least been in pay status. And they are receiving a pension from the FCAPP, which is basically our salary pension plan of less than $1,000 a month, or from FCON, which is a consolidated plan that's made up of a lot of different smaller groups of less than $500 a month. The letters were sent out on the 7th or the 8th. They were dated the 8th, at least the letters that we saw. On the 6th, we saw the letters at our meeting. But it seemed to me that Jim said that they were going to start going out the next day, which was the 7th. So we're not sure whether they actually were mailed on the 7th or the 8th. Athene welcome kit was going to be mailed out or sent out in the middle of February. And our only comment to the individuals is please read it carefully. It's an 8-page letter. The letter you got from Benefit Connect would have been an 8-page letter, very, very in-depth, a little confusing at the beginning, but they certainly had a 21 Q&A there that was pretty good in terms of trying to explain the situation. And if there were questions, it basically said call Benefits Connect. So when we heard about this, we said, okay, why were you doing it? And the reason they told us they were doing it, and it makes some sense to us, is these were a lot of individuals who were getting small amounts of monthly payments that cost a lot of money for the pension plan to operate. PBGC premiums and managing it, whatever, and it just felt it was better to put them into this, and with state protections on state guarantee protections and whatever, they felt it was a good move for the company and for the pension plan to do that. That was the rationale for why they did it. So what did we do? So okay, because there's a lot of questions about this, and I'm sure you will have questions, because the letters were only going to those individuals that were affected, and we felt that was a little bit wrong, because we were concerned about the fact that there certainly is a retiree grapevine out there that if somebody hears something, it goes on and goes on, and we were trying to make sure that it at least the communication that originally went out to individuals was also sent to all the other retirees who were not affected. So that's why we sent it out on an email on Monday with including the letter. So everybody that, at least our members, could see it and would have an understanding of what was happening at that point in time, instead of hearing a lot of things through the grapevine. So that's why we sent our communications to the members. We sent an email out for those we don't have email addresses. It's going out in snail mail, and it's also being posted on our website. The other things we've done is we've initiated a thorough and what we'll call thorough and complete review with our outside consultants on what does this mean to the current people in terms of being annuitized versus receiving a pension. What are the issues? What may be the issues, and what are the things that we should try to help with, or what can we manage? That was the first issue. The second issue is, okay, and I know everybody says this, and we even asked this question: is this the one shoe dropping and the other shoe's going to drop, and you're going to annuitize everybody? Because that's the natural question, right? I mean, is everybody else going to be annuitized? Their answer to that was the answer I would have expected. No, we're not working on anything right now, but we're always looking at ways to reduce costs and expenses. I'll talk a little about that in a minute. We also spent an hour and a half on the phone with the PBGC. And I dare say there's probably very few retiree organizations that can pick up the phone or send an email to the executive director of the PBGC and say, gee, we need to talk to you. And they say, fine, we'll be there. In fact, we were going to talk to them on Monday right after coming out of the meeting, and the FCA asked us not to do that because they had not informed the PBGC of what they were doing. Not that they have to, but they didn't, and they wanted to discuss that. So we said, okay. So we canceled that call on Monday, had on Friday with Michael Ray and his group. We spent an hour and a half on the phone talking about that and talking about state guarantees and PBGC guarantees, what was better, what was worse, and how it affected. And we learned an awful lot. So we're doing our due diligence with our outside counsel, including legal counsel, as to what are these impacts and what's next, or what could be next, and how do we react. Then we're studying the protection comparison between the federal comparison, because once you're annuitized, you lose the PBGC guarantee and you go into state guarantees. So that's in my view, that's the biggest issue, because in some instances, some of you out there would say, geez, I'd rather have an insurance company owning my pension plan than Chrysler or FCA, because we have the slightest idea what's going to happen to FCA, and they're going to go out of bankrupt. And for those of us who've been around with Chrysler for so many years, you wonder what's going to happen. So there's various necessary ideas of is it good or bad. The biggest issue is we're preparing ourselves for possible next actions, if there are any. And the more we know about what's going on, the more we'll keep you informed about this. As far as we know right now, and to answer a couple of questions, I'll just cover this right now because I know there's going to be some questions. The funds that they use to buy the annuities does come out of our pension plan funds. And when we ask that question, because not only do the assets come out, but so do the liabilities. So there's a net relationship of reduction of assets and reduction of liabilities. And we asked that question, and the answer that we got from them was, okay, what's the reduction in your pension plan funding? And their answer to us, and I have no reason to believe they would lie to us. They have never lied to us. They may not tell us everything, but they've not lied to us yet. They said 1 to 2% was the reduction in the funding of the pension plan. So a 1 to 2% reduction in pension plan, 85 to 83 or whatever. And as we talked to John a couple of days ago, we don't know where that funding is going to be because given the amount of money or given the increase in the stock market, we have no idea how much the pension plans made this year. It could have made lots of money, and the funding levels have changed relatively significantly. So we don't know that, but that was their comment to us. But yes, it does come out of the pension plan funding, both the assets and the liabilities. And yeah, I know there's some questions. There were some questions going in. Surprisingly, I'll tell you this, the reason we sent the letter out to those who we think are not affected is because we want everybody to know and understand about it, what was going on. Frankly, I really thought we had been inundated with calls and emails to the office and whatever. In reality, we haven't been inundated with a lot of questions, but I'm sure there may be some here. And after Diana speaks and goes through Q&A, if you want some more Q&As and questions about it, I'm more than happy to come back up and spend a little time to answer as much of those questions. The one thing I will say, because the biggest question that's come up so far to me is, okay, are they going to do it to all the rest of us? And I have no idea. I mean, my answer to that is I really don't know. However, my personal opinion is I don't think that's as reasonable as what they've done so far. Because in order to do the rest of us, and let's say as John's latest document told us, we're the pension fund, while being funded at 85%, I think we're 1.2 billion short, John. I think that's as of 12/31/16. So we were about $1.2 billion short in terms of assets to liabilities, about being underfunded. In order to annuitize everybody, they would have to put in $1.2 billion plus probably maybe what, 10%, John, you think? Yeah. So in order to annuitize us, they would have to actually put in probably between $1.2 billion and $2 billion, let's say. I don't know. That's just as a number in order to do that. And I personally don't think they're willing to do that. So I don't see that happening, although we are preparing and trying to get prepared. So if that does, that we can do everything we can do to help protect everybody and make sure that everybody is taken care of as best as we can. So again, I'll cover more questions if you want more questions afterwards. If not, then you can come talk to me, whatever. So again, we really do honestly thank you for your support. We get some notes from everybody talking about thanking us and whatever, and there's a fair amount of board members who want to spend a lot of time and effort to try to do this and protect you as best we can. So again, thank you for your support, for being here, for your dues, and just for your encouragement. So with that, Michael, turn back to you.